families of the fallen and all their loved ones. And I just want to share a special story with you that I have from 9/11, if we have a moment. This is a cross from the Twin Towers, the South Tower. It was given to me by a firefighter in 3740. His name was Ryan Egan. Ryan Egan came on the job, just like a couple of you young firefighters. He came on a job with one of the firefighters that went into those towers and didn't come out, Engine 207. He was assigned to Brooklyn. And after we went back after the attacks, I was getting ready to pack and come back to California after we went to a couple services, and I was in the locker room upstairs in Harlem, and Ryan Egan came up to me and he said, Mike, I want you guys to have something in California. He said, you know, Kevin O'Reilly and I came on the job at the same time, and there used to be a competition. They used to climb the towers, even when the towers were there. They used to race, and to see if they could never get to the top. And he pulled this cross out. He pulled it out from the bottom of his locker. He says, I was down at the site the other day, and I want you to make a cross to one of the iron workers, and I want to send it out to California, somebody that came. And I keep this cross close to my heart. I keep it in a special place, and the only time I bring it up is September 1st. And that time, that's when I start putting together, well, what names do we have to read this year of the people that we lost to cancer that are working on the pile? There's people dying of leukemia, different types of cancers, lymphoma cancer. Just recently, a retired firefighter passed away on August 30th. He was retired from Engine 21. He was already retired, and he went down and worked at the site for 21 days. And he just succumbed to lung cancer. So the memories that we honor today, the names, we are honoring the families, and it's a God-given gift that he gives us to take care of our own when something like this happens. And that's why Mylan and I and Pete and Joe and the firefighters, we'd love to see more children at these events so we can tell them, you know, just like our parents told us about Pearl Harbor. We need to tell them about this. So that's where this cross comes from, and it's very special because it was given to me from a firefighter that lost a brother firefighter, and it was a way of thanking the communities that came across the country and visited these guys and went to funerals for these families and sat with these families during the darkest time in anybody's life. It's like Bill said, that September 10th, everybody went to bed. It's just another Monday night, finished watching Monday Night Football, got up, and here we are now, 15 years later. But I want to thank everybody for coming out, and we'll get started now. Thank you.
If you get an opportunity tonight to look at our the piece of steel that we have from the Twin Towers, that piece of steel was given to us by Ray Flores, and so that piece of steel from the Twin Towers and that plaque will stay in front of the station lit in perpetuity. That is ours to share with the community. And so we hope you have a chance whenever you're in the neighborhood to stop by, have a look at it, and that we hope that this will help everyone remember every day, all day, not just on Patriot Day. So thank you.
Okay.
Chief Peter Gansey, Jr. Deputy Commissioner William Fahan. Fire Marshal Ronald Bucca. Chaplain Michael Judge. Assistant Chief Gerard Barbara. Assistant Chief Donald Burns.
Battalion Chief Raymond Downey, Captain Michael Russo, Captain Patrick Waters, Lieutenant Timothy Higgins, Captain Joseph Farrelly, Captain Thomas Moody, Captain Timothy Stackpole, Captain Martin Egan Jr., Captain Thomas Haskell Jr., Captain William O'Keefe.
Battalion Chief Charles Casper, Battalion Chief Matthew Ryan, Lieutenant Paul Mitchell, Battalion Chief William McGovern, Battalion Chief Richard Prunty, Lieutenant Thomas O'Hagan, Battalion Chief John Williamson.
Lieutenant Glenn Wilkinson, Firefighter Ronnie Henderson, Firefighter Michael Ragusa, Firefighter Anthony Rodriguez, Firefighter Raymond York, Captain Frederick L. Jr., Firefighter Michael Clark, Firefighter George Pasquale.
Battalion Chief John Paulillo, Battalion Chief Joseph Marchbanks Jr., Battalion Chief Fred Sheffield, Lieutenant Glenn Perry, Lieutenant Brian Ahern, Lieutenant Charles Margiotta, Lieutenant Kenneth Phelan, Lieutenant Jeffrey Gouja.
Lieutenant Michael Fodder, Firefighter Gerald Atwood, Firefighter Gerald Duffy, Firefighter Keith Glasgow, Firefighter Joseph Henry, Firefighter William Kurkowski, Firefighter Benjamin Suarez, Captain Daniel Brethel.
The members of Flight 93, Alan Bevan of Oakland, Mark K. Bingham of San Francisco, Diora Francis Bodley of San Diego, Thomas E. Burnett Jr. of San Ramon, Andrew Garcia of Portola Valley, Lauren Grancolas of San Rafael, Richard Jerry Wadango of Eureka, Nicole Miller of San Jose.
Lieutenant Peter Fround, Firefighter Robert Lane, Firefighter Christopher Mozillo, Firefighter Stephen Russell, Lieutenant Robert Nagel, Firefighter Ruben Carrera, Firefighter Greg Buck, Firefighter Christopher Pickford, and Firefighter John Shard.
Police Officer Vincent Dance, Police Officer Glenn Pettit, Sergeant John Coughlin, Police Officer Stephen Driscoll, Police Officer Santos Valentine, Police Officer Ronald Cloffer.
Firefighter Paul Byer, Firefighter Thomas Holohan,
Firefighter William Johnston, Robert Haro, Lieutenant Greg Atlas, Firefighter Jeffrey Olson, Firefighter Paul Pancini, Captain William Burke Jr.
Lieutenant Vincent Giamona, Lieutenant Michael Mortola, Firefighter Louis Arena, Firefighter Andrew Brunn, Firefighter Thomas Hannafin, Firefighter Paul Keating, Firefighter John Santor, Firefighter Gregory Sadiso.
Firefighter Daniel Sir, Firefighter Stephen Coakley, Firefighter Neil Levi, Firefighter John Chipura, Firefighter David De Rubio, Firefighter Ryan McAleese, Firefighter Stanley Smagala Jr.
Firefighter Sean Talon, Lieutenant Michael Quilty, Firefighter Michael Camarata, Firefighter Edward Day, Firefighter John Heffernan, Firefighter Richard Kelly Jr., Firefighter Matthew Rogan, Firefighter Angel Jarby Jr., Firefighter Michael Mullen.
Police Officer Robert Fazio, Police Officer James Leahy, Police Officer John Perry, Sergeant Timothy Roy, Police Officer Claude Richards.
Captain Vincent Burton, Firefighter Thomas W. Kelly, Firefighter Henry Miller Jr., Firefighter Dennis Oberg, Firefighter Frank Palumbo, Lieutenant Christopher Sullivan, Lieutenant Robert Reagan, Firefighter Joseph Agnelio, Firefighter Vernon Cherry, Firefighter Scott Davidson, Firefighter Leon Smith Jr., Firefighter Peter Vega.
Pentagon, Melissa Rose Barnes of Redlands, Lieutenant Colonel Dean Matson of California, Lieutenant Commander Otis Vincent Tolbert of Lemoore. Twin Towers, Orange Glen High School graduate Juan Pablo Alvarez Sanerso, Christian Hans Rudolph Wemmers of San Francisco.
Rescue 1, Captain Terrence Hayden, Lieutenant Denzi Mojica, Firefighter Joseph Angelina, Firefighter Gary Goodell, Firefighter William Henry, Firefighter Kenneth Marino, Firefighter Michael Montesi, Firefighter Gerard Nevins, Firefighter Patrick O'Keefe, Firefighter Brian Sweeney, Firefighter David West.
Lieutenant Anthony Jovic, Battalion Chief Joseph Grislick, Firefighter Michael Bocino, Battalion Chief John Morin, Battalion Chief Lawrence Stack, Battalion Chief Dennis Cross, and Firefighter Robert Crawford.
Firefighter Terrell Coleman, Firefighter Thomas Kavickas, Firefighter Peter Legon, Firefighter Patrick Lyons, Firefighter Kevin Pryor, Lieutenant Ronald Kerwin, Firefighter Ronnie Geis, Firefighter Joseph Hunter, Firefighter Jonathan Ilepi, Firefighter Adam Rand, Firefighter Timothy Welty.
Firefighter John McAvoy, Firefighter Timothy McSweeney, Firefighter Joseph Ogren, Firefighter Stephen Olson, Captain David Woolley, Lieutenant Daniel O'Callaghan, Firefighter Joseph Angelini Jr., Firefighter Michael Brennan, Firefighter Michael Howe, Firefighter Michael Lynch, Firefighter Samuel Oitis, Firefighter John Tipping II.
Police Officer Brian McDonald, Sergeant Michael Curtin, Police Officer John D. Alara, Detective Joseph Vigano, Jerome Dominguez, Police Officer Walter Weaver.
Lieutenant Vernon Richard, Firefighter George Kane, Firefighter Robert Fody, Firefighter Charles Mendez, Firefighter Richard Maldoni Jr., Firefighter Vincent Princiata, Lieutenant Vincent Halloran, Firefighter Gerard Baptiste, Firefighter John Tierney, and Firefighter Jeffrey Waltz.
Army Staff Sergeant Jorge Pena Romero of Fallbrook. Army Sergeant Stephen Saxton of Temecula. Army Glenn Watkins of Carlsbad. Army Specialist Wade Michael Twiman of Vista. Marine Lance Corporal Morad Ragamoff of San Diego. Kristen Egeldrum of FDNY, Bronx, New York. Marine Sergeant Rafael Peralta of San Diego.
From Ladder Company 131, Firefighter Christian Regenhard. Ladder 132, Firefighter Andrew Jordan. Firefighter Michael Kiefer. Firefighter Thomas Mengione. Firefighter John Vigiano. Firefighter Sergio Villanueva. From Ladder 136, Firefighter Michael Colley.
Rescue 3, Firefighter Christopher Blackwell, Firefighter Thomas Foley, Firefighter Thomas Gambino, Firefighter Raymond Mischenheimer, Firefighter Donald Reagan, Firefighter Gerard Scran, Firefighter Joseph Spore.
Rescue 4, Captain Brian Hickey, Lieutenant Kevin Dowdell, Firefighter Peter Brennan, Firefighter Terrence Farrell, Firefighter William Mahoney, Firefighter Peter Nelson, Firefighter Daryl Persali.
NYPD Sergeant Rodney Gillis, Police Officer Paul Talty, Police Officer Thomas Laganos, Police Officer Ramon Suarez, Police Officer Mark Ellis, Police Officer Maura Smith.
Squad 1, Captain James Amato, Lieutenant Edward D. Entree, Lieutenant Michael Esposito, Firefighter Brian Bildler, Firefighter Gary Box, Firefighter Thomas Butler, Firefighter Peter Corral, Firefighter Robert Portis, Firefighter David Fontana, Firefighter Matthew Garvey, Firefighter Stephen Siller.
U.S. Army Private First Class Ivan E. Merlo of San Marcos. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Sean P. Fisher of Santee. USMC Corporal Eric T. Garut of Santee. U.S. Army Specialists Rafael Martinez Jr. of Spring Valley. U.S. Army Specialist Jeffrey D. Bisson of Vista. U.S. Army Private First Class Keith M. Williams of Vista. U.S. Army Sergeant Nathan K. Bouchard of Wildemar. U.S. Army Captain Brian Scott Freeman of Temecula. U.S. Army Specialist Mary J. Janishin of Temecula. USMC Corporal Christopher G. Singer of Temecula. U.S. Army Sergeant First Class David L. McDowell of Ramona.
Squad 41, Lieutenant Michael Healy, Firefighter Thomas Cullen III, Firefighter Robert Hamilton, Firefighter Michael Lyons, Firefighter Grady Sikorsky, Firefighter Richard Van Heim.
Engine 1, Lieutenant Andrew De Perito, Firefighter Michael Weinberg. Engine 4, Firefighter Khalito Anaya Jr., Firefighter Michael Brennan, Firefighter James Riches, Firefighter Thomas Squales, Firefighter Teg Meyer. Engine 5, Manuel De Valle.
Tactical Support 1, Firefighter Joseph Mascali, Paramedics Carlos Leo, Paramedic Richard Quinn, Hazmat 1, Battalion Chief John Fanning, Lieutenant John Krisky, Firefighter Dennis Carey, Firefighter Martin DeMeo, Firefighter Thomas Gardner, Firefighter John Giordano, Firefighter Jonathan Human, Firefighter Dennis Sasio, Firefighter Kevin Smith.
Police Officer John Levi, Police Officer James Lynch, Police Officer Donald McIntyre, Police Officer Walter McNeil, Police Officer Joseph Nava, Police Officer James Nelson.
Rescue 2, Firefighter Daniel Libretti, Firefighter William Lake, Firefighter Peter Martin, Firefighter John Napolitano, Firefighter Kevin O'Rourke, Firefighter Lincoln Quap, Firefighter Edward Raw.
Ladder 16, Lieutenant Raymond Murphy, Firefighter Robert Curoluto. Ladder 20, Lieutenant John Fisher, Firefighter John Burnside, Firefighter James Gray, Firefighter Sheen Hanley, Firefighter David LaForge, Firefighter Robert Linnane, Firefighter Robert McMahon.
Ladder 13, Captain Walter Hines, Firefighter Thomas Hetzel, Firefighter Dennis McHugh, Firefighter Thomas Sabella, Firefighter Gregory Stock. Ladder 15, Lieutenant Joseph Levy, Firefighter Richard Allen, Firefighter Arthur Berry, Firefighter Thomas R. Kelly, Firefighter Scott Kopitko, Firefighter Scott Larson, Firefighter Douglas Oschlager, Firefighter Eric Olson.
Ladder 25, Firefighter Matthew Barnes, Firefighter John Collins, Firefighter Kenneth Cumble, Firefighter Robert Manera, Firefighter Joseph Pavelli, Firefighter Paul Ruback. Ladder 35, Firefighter Frank Callahan, Firefighter James Giberson, Firefighter Vincent Morello, Firefighter Michael Otten, and Firefighter Michael E. Roberts.
Ladder 42, Firefighter Peter Beifeld. Ladder 101, Lieutenant Joseph Galikson. Firefighter Patrick Byrne. Firefighter Salvatore Calabrero. Firefighter Brian Canizaro. Firefighter Thomas Kennedy. Firefighter Joseph Maffeo. Firefighter Terrence McShane.
Police Officer John Scala, Police Officer Waylon Stewart, Police Officer Kenneth Teaton, Police Officer Nathaniel Webb, Police Officer Michael Woolley, Canine Officer Cyrus, Police Officer Steve Husick. PAPD, Sergeant Robert Nufflers, Lieutenant Robert P. Keary Sr., Captain Kathy Matza, Police Inspector Anthony Infante, Police Chief James Romito, Director of Public Safety and Superintendent of Police Fred Maroney.
Police Officer Thomas E. Gorman, Police Officer Greg Froner, Police Officer Donald Foreman, Police Officer Clinton Davis, Police Officer Liam Callahan, Police Officer Maurice Barry, Police Officer Chrisis Amoroso.
Flight Crew, United Airlines Flight 93. Jason Dahl, pilot. Leroy Homer, pilot. Deborah A. Welsh, flight attendant. Sandra W. Bradshaw, flight attendant. Wanda Anita Green, flight attendant. Cece Lyles, flight attendant. Lorraine Grace Bay, senior flight attendant.
Bamsi Krishna from Los Angeles, John Joseph Weckness from Torrance, Thomas F. McGinnis Jr. from Fallbrook, David Engel, Lynn Engel from Pasadena, Salora Ayama from Culver City of Escondido, Carolyn Biog from Santa Monica, Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman from Nevada, Andrew Green from Santa Monica, John Hoffer from Bellflower, Barbara Keating from Palm Springs, Daniel John Lee from Van Nuys, Thomas Nicholas Piccarelli from Topanga, Barry Brenson Perkins from Los Angeles.
Police Officer Alfonso Niedermeyer, Police Officer James Farman, Police Officer Dominic Pezzalio, Police Officer Bruce Reynolds, Police Officer Antino Rodriguez, Police Officer Richard Rodriguez.
From Flight 77, Inea Petro of Burbank, Suzanne Colley of San Martin, Stanley Hall of Rancho Palos Verdes, Chandler Keller of El Segundo, Ruben Ornado of Los Angeles, Robert Penninger of Poway, Marie Ray Sopper of Santa Barbara, Christopher Newton of Anaheim, Dora Medichin of Santa Monica.
Lieutenant Gary J. Gates, Field Comm. Fireman Dennis J. Heedles, Engine 151. Fireman Nicholas J. Damasi, Engine 259. Fireman Frank D. Fontano, Engine 155. Battalion Chief James N. Castello, Battalion 4. Fireman Michael P. Smith, Ladder 58. Fireman Thomas J. Kelly, Ladder 19.
Lieutenant Richard M. Burke, Engine 97. Fireman Michael Sophia, Engine 165. Fireman Joseph P. Costello. Fireman William R. O'Connor, Ladder 84. Lieutenant Ronaldo Natal, Field Communications. Paramedic Deborah Reeve. Fire Marshal William Wilson Jr., BFI Man Base. Lieutenant Thomas Hodges, Engine 313. Fireman Bob Weber, Engine 262. EMS, Lieutenant Brian Elcott, EMS Dispatch.
Army Specialist Eric Ramirez of San Diego. Army Specialist Patrick Tanch of Escondido. Army Specialist Elio Mir Sandoval of San Clemente. Army Specialist Jason Chappelle of Hemet. Navy Lieutenant Thomas Adams of La Mesa. Sergeant Richard Sobenka of Oceanside. Marine Major Richard Gannon, 2nd of Escondido.
Marine Lance Corporal Corey Ryan Guerin of Santee. Army Private Devin D. Jones of San Diego. Marine Lance Corporal Jason William Moore of San Marcos. Army Private Daniel R. Parker of Lake Elsinore. Marine Corporal Randall Kent Rossiker of San Diego. Marine Lance Corporal Jesus A. Suarez del Solar of Escondido.
DAC John McFarland, EMS Operations. Lieutenant Robert Stigmeyer, Ladder 127. Lieutenant Mark McKay, Ladder 45. Lieutenant Patrick Sullivan, Ladder 58. Fireman Michael Behetti, Ladder 172. Battalion Chief Thomas Van Doran, Battalion 3. EMT Joseph Schweimo. Paramedic Ruben Barrios. Fireman Walter Torres, Engine 328.
Fireman Bruce M. Floss, Ladder 108. Fireman Martin Simons, Ladder 111. Fireman Jakes Altry, Engine 50. Fireman Kevin Milano, Ladder 142. Fireman Mike Larso, Squad 252. Lieutenant Jimmy Tandrick, Ladder 47. Fireman Robert Borcherine, Ladder 160. Paramedic Clyde F. Seeley, BHS. Fireman Timothy G. Lockwood, Engine 275.
EMT James K., Battalion 35. EMT Daniel Stewart. Fireman Gary Silentani, Engine 233. Fireman Walter Voigt, Ladder 144. Fireman Robert W. Dillon, Engine 153. Fireman Edward W. T. Tijon, Ladder 48. EMT Felix Hernandez, Battalion 17. Battalion Chief Kevin R. Brines, Battalion 7. Fireman Stephen Johnson, Ladder 25. Fireman Gerald Arlington, Ladder 42.
EMT Timothy Keller, Battalion 50.
Paramedic Corinne Brown, EMS Bureau of Training. Fireman James Ryan, Ladder 167. Lieutenant Robert M. Hess, Ladder 76. Paramedic Paula Rodriguez. EMT Freddie Rosario, EMS Station 4. Lieutenant Harry Wanamaker, Jr., Marine 1. Supervisor of Communications, Electrician Philip J. Berger, Outside Plant Operations. Fireman Vincent Albanez, Ladder 38. Fireman Billy Tropez.
Lieutenant Joseph P. Calori. Fireman Michael J. Shaggy. Fireman William R. St. George. Fireman Ray Halber. Fire Marshal Tom Driscoll. Battalion Chief Jerry Haw. Fireman William E. Morrow. Lieutenant John Murray. Fireman Sean McCarthy.
Fireman Anthony J. Nuccio, Ladder 3175. Fire Marshal Stephen C. Mosiello, Office of Chief of the Department. Fireman Carl Capobianco, Ladder 87. Captain Emilio R. Longo, Ladder 110. Fireman Raymond Ragucci, Engine 5. Division Chief William J. Guido, Head of Marine Division. Captain Sheldon Barocas, Engine 251. Firefighter Virginia Culkin Spinelli, Engine 329.
Firefighter John Silva, Ladder 34. Firefighter Roy Chelson, Engine 28. Firefighter William Quick, Ladder 134. Lieutenant Andrew M. Borges, Engine 326. Firefighter John O'Neill, Ladder 52. Firefighter William Franklin, Engine 65. Lieutenant Randy Wybeck, Ladder 1. Firefighter Brian C. Malloy, Ladder 80. And Firefighter John A. Garcia, Ladder 5.
Battalion Chief John Corcoran. Fireman Andrew Dahl Cartivo, Engine 227. Lieutenant Martin Fulham, Engine 10. Fireman Chuck Jones, Ladder 165. Battalion Chief Richard Arizosa, Battalion 19. Fire Marshal Emil K. Harnischfager. EMT Ronald Coyne, EMS Station 38. Fireman Robert Coeth, Engine 268. Captain Peter Casey, Engine 212.
Paramedic Ruby Havlack, EMT Francis Charles, Paramedic John Wyatt, EMT Luis de Pena, Fireman Adolfo Antonio, EMS Lieutenant Michael Kavanaugh, Lieutenant Tom Greeny, Ladder 175, and Captain James Noonan.
Engine 205, Lieutenant Robert Wallace. Engine 207, Firefighter Carl Joseph. Firefighter Sean Powell. Firefighter Kevin Riley. Engine 214, Firefighter Carl Bedigian. Firefighter John Florio. Firefighter Michael Roberts. Firefighter Kenneth Watson.
Fireman Dan Heglin, Rescue 4.
Fireman Robert Lever, Division 3. Fireman Cornel Horn, Ladder 176. EMS Lieutenant Tommy Giamarino. Fireman Ralph Geidel, Rescue 1. Fireman Patrick Finnegan, Engine 69. Fireman Gerard Walsh, Ladder 126. Fireman Eugene McCary, Ladder 36. Fireman Richard Nogan, Ladder 113. Battalion Chief John J. Cassidy.
Ladder 2, Firefighter Dennis Germain. Firefighter Daniel Harlan. Firefighter Carl Molino. Firefighter Dennis Mulligan. Ladder 3, Captain Patrick Brown. Lieutenant Kevin Donnelly. Firefighter Michael Carroll. Firefighter James Coyle. Firefighter Gerald Dewan. Firefighter Jeffrey Giordano. Firefighter Joseph Maloney.
U.S. Army Specialist Josiah W. Paulo Peter. U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer Nicholas S. Johnson. U.S. Army Specialist Stephen M. Kowalski. U.S. Navy SEAL Lieutenant Commander Eric Christensen. U.S. Army Specialist Ronnie G. Mador, Jr. U.S. Army Sergeant First Class David E. Metzger. U.S. Army Specialist Greg N. Millard. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Conrad A. Mora. U.S. Army First Lieutenant Officer Jennifer M. Moreno. U.S. Army Corporal Kenneth E. Nuccia.
Engine 230, Firefighter Frank Bonanno. Firefighter Michael Carlo. Firefighter Jeffrey Stark. Firefighter Eugene Whelan. Firefighter Edward White. From Engine 835, Lieutenant Stephen Bates. Firefighter Nicholas Ciufiano. Firefighter Francis Esposito. Firefighter Lee Failing, and Firefighter Lawrence Veiling.
U.S. Army Specialist Chris F. Andrew of Poway. USMC Lance Corporal Jason D. Hill of Poway. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Jason L. Baton of Poway. U.S. Army Sergeant Joseph W. Perry of Alpine. USMC Mario D. Carrazzo of Carlsbad. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Casey J. Braconiak of Carlsbad. Of Chula Vista. USMC Corporal Salem Bacher. U.S. Army Sergeant Michael J. Idanen. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Christopherson B. Lorenzo. U.S. Army Sergeant Michael J. Maritime. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Joshua P. Matero. USMC Corporal Eric Hernandez Silva. U.S. Army Specialist Curtis R. Spivey. U.S. Army Specialist Charles E. Wyckoff, Jr.
Engine 35, Firefighter James Steins, Firefighter Keith Atlas. Ladder 53, Firefighter Louis Fragasso. EMS Division 5, Captain William Olson. Engine 307, Stephen Ryman. Ladder 109, Keith Laughlin. Engine 302, Jack Greaves. Ladder 149, Lieutenant Howard Bischoff.
From Engine 26, Captain Thomas Farino. Firefighter Dana Hannon. Firefighter Robert Spear, Jr. From Engine 33, Lieutenant Kevin Pfeiffer. Firefighter David Arce, Firefighter Michael Boyle, Firefighter Robert Evans, Firefighter Robert King Jr., Firefighter Keith Roy Maynard.
Lieutenant John J. Halpin, Ladder 21. Fireman Charles S. Zoki, Ladder 21. Fireman James J. Marshall, Ladder 78. Battalion Chief George D. Iser, Battalion 35. Captain John Gallagher, Engine 251. Captain Thomas Thompson, Engine 306. EMS Lieutenant Harold E. McNeil, Station 31.
Flight Crew, American Airlines Flight 77. Charles Chick Burlingame, pilot. David M. Charlie Boyles, pilot. Michelle Heidenberger, flight attendant. Jennifer Lewis, flight attendant. Renee May, flight attendant.
Fireman Kevin T. Murphy, Ladder 166. Captain John R. Guzano, Ladder 78. Fireman Greg Chiavelli, Ladder 176. Firefighter Joseph T. Callahan, Engine 245. Battalion Chief Richard E. McGuire, EMS Lieutenant Douglas McCollin, and Deputy Chief Inspector Bureau of Fire Prevention 2013, James W. Mandelco.
Fireman Joseph A. Morstad, Ladder 45. Lieutenant Robert G. Alford, Engine 231. And retired fireman William Woodland, Engine 21.
Mitchell Scott Wallace, Minciola Court Officer. David Marcus Sullians, Glendale Paramedic of Cabrini Medical Center. Mark Schwartz, City Office of Emergency Management. Yamel Marino, EMT, Metro Care Ambulance Group. Thomas Edward Jurgens, Lawrence, EMT. Keith George Farbin, EMT, New York Presbyterian Hospital. Stephen Patrick Driscoll, Lake Carmel, North Bronx, Emergency Services Unit. James Corrigan, Director of Fire and Life Service, World Trade Center. Keith M. Roma, FDNY, Fire Patrol Number 2.
Battalion 7, Battalion Chief Oriole Palmer, Lieutenant Stephen Harrell, Lieutenant Philip Petit, Firefighter Stephen Belson. Battalion 8, Battalion Chief Thomas DeAngelis, Firefighter Thomas McCain. Battalion 9, Battalion Chief Dennis Devlin, Battalion Chief Edward Guradi, Lieutenant Charles Garabarani, Firefighter Carl Asaro, Firefighter Alan Feinberg.
Flight 175, Alicia Nicole Titus of San Francisco. Tori Balorci of Beverly Hills. Daniel Brandhorst and David Brandhorst of Los Angeles. Ronald Gambo of Los Angeles. Dorothy Alma De Harajo of Long Beach. Lisa Ann Frost of Rancho Santa Margarita. Gerard F. Parker of Carlsbad. Macaloy Joe Lopez Jr. of Norwalk. Mary Papalardo of Paramount, and Timothy Ward of San Diego.
Flight Crew United Air Flight 175. Michael R. Horrocks, pilot. Victor J. Saraceni, pilot. Alicia N. Titus, flight attendant. Michael C. Taro, flight attendant. Robert J. Fagman, flight attendant. Amy N. Jarrett, flight attendant. Amy R. King, flight attendant. Maria Ann McFarland, customer service. Alfred Gillis, Padre Joseph Marchant, flight attendant.
From San Diego, U.S. Army Specialist Omar Albrecht, U.S. Army Corporal Anthony Bento, U.S. Army Sergeant Rodrigo G. Borjas, United States Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Scott E. Dickinson, U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Christopher B. Donnie, U.S. Army Sergeant Alejandro Dominguez, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Richwell A. Doria, U.S. Army Sergeant Nichols Fredsty, U.S. Army Specialist Matthew J. Holly.
Flight Crew, American Airlines Flight 11. Thomas F. McGinnis, pilot. John Oganowski, pilot. Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman, flight attendant. Barbara Jean Aristigal, flight attendant. Sarah Elizabeth Lowe, flight attendant. Karen Martin, flight attendant. Jean Dostahan Roger, flight attendant. Renee Lucille Newell, American Airlines customer service.
U.S. Army Specialist Marcos O. Velasco, U.S. Army Specialist Justin L. O'Donohoe, U.S. Navy SEAL First Class Petty Officer Thomas E. Retzer, U.S. Army Specialist Daniel F. Reyes, U.S. Army Specialist Trinidad Santiago, U.S. Army Private Clarence T. Spencer, U.S. Army Sergeant Camilla M. Steadley, U.S. Army Sergeant Richard A. Vaughn, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Paul A. Velasquez, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Jamie D. Wilson.
Police Officer Paul W. Jurgen, Police Officer Paul Lazzie, Police Officer David Legmani, Police Officer John Lennon, Police Officer George Howard, Police Officer Huro Houston.
From El Cajon, U.S. Army Lieutenant Florence B. Cho, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Mark A. Stetz. From Fallbrook, U.S. Navy SEAL Chief Petty Officer Mark T. Carter, Army National Guard Sergeant Mike T. Sonoda. From Hemet, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Brian E. Bolender, U.S. Marine Corporal Michael A. Estrella, U.S. Navy Corpsman Mark A. Retmere, U.S. Navy Corpsman Charles O. Sayre, U.S. Army Private First Class Kenny F. Staton Jr., and U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer Keith Yoakum.
U.S. Army Sergeant James Trevor of Imperial Beach, U.S. Army Sergeant Noah M. Court of Lake Elsinore, USMC Corporal Michael J. Palacio of Lake Elsinore, U.S. Army Specialist Damon G. Legrand of Lakeside, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Richard A. Burdick of National City. From Oceanside, USMC Lance Corporal James Bulk, U.S. Army Christopher M. Cooper, U.S. Army Private First Class Cesar Cortez, U.S. Army Sergeant David L. Herrera, U.S. Navy Commander Christopher E. Califoot, USMC Major Michael D. Martino, Army National Guard Sergeant Paul C. Neubauer.
Escondido Military, Major Richard Gannon II, Lance Corporal Jesus A. Suarez D. Solar, Sergeant Cody R. Lake, James L. Beckstrand.
Engine 40, Lieutenant John Ginley, Firefighter Kevin Bracken, Firefighter Michael Diaria, Firefighter Bruce Gary, Firefighter Michael Lynch, Firefighter Steve McCardio. Engine 54, Firefighter Paul Gill, Firefighter Jose Guadalupe, Firefighter Leonardo Regalia, and lastly Firefighter Christopher Santoria.
Engine 22, Firefighter Thomas Casaria, Firefighter Michael Elfris, Firefighter Vincent Kane, Firefighter Martin McWilliams. Engine 23, Lieutenant Paul Martini, Firefighter John Marshall, Firefighter Robert McFadden, Firefighter James Papa George, Firefighter Hector Tirado Jr., Firefighter Mark Whitford.
Marine Lance Corporal Derek L. Gardner of San Juan Capistrano, Marine Private First Class Fernando B. Hannon of Wildemar, Army Sergeant Bud J. Cronkite of Spring Valley, Army Specialist Ramon C. Ojeda of Ramona, Army Specialist James L. Beckstrand of Escondido, Marine First Lieutenant Oscar Jimenez of San Diego, Marine Lance Corporal Marcus M. Cherry of Imperial.
From Squad 18, Lieutenant William McGinn, Firefighter Eric Allen, Firefighter Andrew Fredericks, Firefighter David Halderman, Firefighter Timothy Haskell, Firefighter Manuel Mojica, Firefighter Lawrence Virgilio.
Rescue 5, Captain Louis Mandafri, Lieutenant Harvey Harrell, Firefighter John Bergen, Firefighter Carl Benini, Firefighter Michael Fiore, Firefighter Andre Fletcher, Firefighter Douglas Miller, Firefighter Jeffrey Palazzo, Firefighter Nicholas Rosmanato, and Firefighter Alan Tereswick.
Fireman Edward Riley, Fireman John McNamara, Captain Kevin Cassidy, Firefighter Joan Daly, Fireman Richard Mineta, Lieutenant Peter Fahrenkopf, Battalion Chief John Vaughn, Fireman Robert Ford, and lastly, Lieutenant Tommy Roberts, who was a personal friend of ours from Ladder 40 from the Harlem Station.
That concludes the reading of the names for this evening. Again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone being here and participating in this event to really help us remember what occurred on that day and to pass it forward and pass it on. I'd like to give a special thanks to San Pasqual Reservation Fire Department Chief Rodriguez. Please pass my thanks on to Chairman as well. To the Rincon Reservation Fire Department as well. To Chief Hadfield, and please pass my thank you on to Chairman Rincon as well. To all of our public safety brothers and sisters who are here today, and future brothers and sisters who are going to be joining the ranks from Palomar College, thank you very much. And to Peter Dilly, who dug on the pile. He was there and saw the aftermath. And again, thanks to Mylan and thanks to Mike, who trekked across the country to raise money for the families when their husbands and wives fell to that tragic day. We'll have a quick moment of silence